All right, we are live. Welcome to another Thursday Carnivore Mastermind. I have an excellent panel of guests with me this evening, and we're excited to chat with you about the topic of the week, which I'm going to bring front and center here. I asked you guys this week just kind of a more general question because I wanted to get really a compilation and a list of all the amazing benefits that we've been experiencing. And I know they tend to stack up over time. And so that's kind of the topic for today. So I asked you, what's the number one benefit you've experienced since being on a proper human diet? So I know in my audience, there's a significant number of carnivores, but a lot of you are ketovore. You do include some plants or seasonings, things like that. So I kind of just contextualize it that way. And we had kind of a mixed result here. The number one top benefit that you guys voted for was lowered inflammation and pain at 43%. Somewhat of a close second, 20% was weight loss. And then third place was 19% with better mental health. And then remission of my other chronic disease, see comment. And then last but not least, it's kind of surprised me, but 6% was reversing type 2 diabetes. But then when we scroll down to the comments, a lot of you, said that you wanted to pick all of them, that, you couldn't choose between the four options. And a lot of you left lists of all the things that I didn't mention that you've seen remission from or are getting better as time goes on. And so, I mean, we have things like, let's see, anxiety, depression, sleep, mobility, energy, skin, hair, neuropathy, joint pain, phlegm, clarity, nails, teeth, gums, no meds, no food addiction. Miss E is the one that I really wanted to share here before we jump into comments. She's on our Sunday live stream a lot of times. And so I've heard her talk about her story a little bit, but she was dangerously underweight when she started, desperately trying to gain weight. The more plants she ate, the worse her type 2 diabetes got, which caused so many problems with inflammation and mental health, literally on the brink of death for more than one reason. Now she's back up to a healthy weight. Her diabetes is in remission. Psoriasis is about 90% in remission. That gives me hope, right? I'm close, but I'm not quite there yet. Able to taper off antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds within the first month of carnivore. She still has lupus, but everything was so much worse. And so now, she's doing some light exercise, qigong daily, and is managing this disease better than, being on meds and in the state that she was in, with her diet before. And so there's lots of great comments here, and I thank all of you for contributing those this week, because that just warms my heart to come on here and read all that stuff. And it's just like, it gives me hope because I'm still healing from a few things yet, and I've progressed a long way, but it's really nice to know that so many things seem to improve when we change our diet to a proper human diet. Fancy that. So I want to start going around our panel tonight, and we'll start with Christy. So if you could just introduce yourself in case anyone's tuning in for the first time or hasn't met you yet. And then, maybe if you don't have a top benefit, you could list any and all of the benefits that you've experienced that stand out to you on your journey.
Okay, that sounds great. Hi, everyone. If you haven't met me, my name is Christy. I am a teacher in Southern California, and my channel is Meeting Wellness. I have a few benefits. I'm not going to list them all because I could take the whole hour, Nia, and then these other wonderful people would not have a chance to speak, and that's just not fair. So I will keep just to a few of my, main benefits. But I'm going to start by saying that I know many people go into carnivore like on purpose, with a purpose, like because they have autoimmune or they have type 2 diabetes or whatever that the case may be. That didn't happen for me. I actually went keto back in February of 2023, and it was strictly for weight loss. I didn't even know about any of the potential benefits like other than weight loss. It was just, well, I've tried everything else. Let me try this keto thing because that's something I haven't tried. And it didn't take me long from February to June. I just out of laziness. Like, I don't feel like cooking the vegetables, so I'm just going to stick to the ribeye. And then later I found out, oh, that's a thing. Like, there's carnivores out there and they just eat meat. And oh my gosh, I didn't start researching or looking into what those benefits might be until I went like, okay, not only have I lost some weight, but like my mental health is improving. And I didn't even know there was a problem. I feel like going outside and doing some exercise, like I've never felt like that a day in my life. So I started experiencing these benefits and thinking, well, does this happen for other people? Like, what is going on? How do I have all this energy? And so then I looked into it and found out, okay, yep, it's a thing. And people do experience some incredible benefits. So one of the main benefits for me has been food freedom. And I know a lot of people talk about food freedom, but I think that can mean maybe different things for different people. For me, I was very obsessed, and I mean obsessed with calories, counting calories, and keeping those low. I did a lot of restriction. So I did like binging and then restricting cycles from the time I was a teenager all the way till 47. So many, many years of, I'm sure, wrecking my hormones, my satiety signals, all of that stuff. Trying to keep my weight below a certain number. And then when I couldn't restrict anymore, I would binge, and then I'd restrict way down again. So most of the time I was restricting, and that whole time I'd have this counter in my head, planning food, thinking about food, how many calories are in that food, adding up the calories, recalculating them to make sure my first 10 calculations I'd already done were correct. And then calculating for the next day and like, how can I take off 10 more calories here and 5 more calories there? Like obsessing over it. That just kind of went away. That just melted away. That's not to say that I've never tracked. I have gone through times of tracking things for, needing to tweak things here or there, especially when I first started keto and I didn't really know what 20 carbs even looked like, I tracked, but it wasn't obsessive. It was just, I put it in there. Okay, that's what it is. Great. And then I would eat that and move on. I wouldn't think about it till the next day. Currently I'm not tracking, and so just that, like, I have all that bandwidth in my brain is like freed up to do normal stuff now and not be obsessed over stuff that is just, it's craziness to just be constantly running that through your head. So that's a big one for me. And I've had lots of other mental health benefits too, but I'll let the others I'm sure they have mental health as well. So again, like I said, there's many. I'm not going to go into all of them. Another thing I wanted to talk about is stability. So like a lot of things in my life have become so much more stable, right? So like my blood sugar. It used to be like, oh, if I don't eat something within the next few minutes, like I might pass out, right? And that like the highs and the lows and like feeling like, oh, I got to eat something. Oh, my blood sugar's down. Like I never have that feeling of my blood sugar's low. I have to eat right now. Like if I'm hungry, okay, like yes, I'm hungry. But if I have to wait an hour, 2, 3, it's like not a big deal, you know? Whereas before it was a huge deal. Like I have to eat now or I'm going to pass out. Something bad is going to happen. I'm definitely hangry and I'm probably going to bite your head off at the very least. So that stability, like the blood sugar is just stable. And because of that, my mood is more stable. So when things come my way, like whatever that is, most of life we don't control. We can only control how we react, and but yeah, like things happen and it's like, man, okay, so that happened. How am I going to deal with it? Instead of like flipping out, being worried about it, all of that stuff. So it's just a lot more stable. And then like my mental clarity. So it's like I'm able to just, I don't feel like I'm fighting my way through brain fog just to function. I could barely just do like work, like I'm going to go to work. And then after that, I'm closed. Like nobody else demand anything else of me. I'm closed because all I can handle is to get through my work day and that's it. I have all kinds of mental clarity now. It doesn't take, as much effort, to get through my day. Like I said, when I introduced myself, I'm a teacher. And I've been doing that for 24 years. And so I have a lot of experience and it's just gotten so much, easier and more natural for me to just go through my day. And then at the end of my day, hi, Ellie. At the end of my day, it's like, okay, now what? Like, what am I going to do now? So I have energy to go for a walk. Like I went on a walk yesterday. I went on a new route. It was super cool. It was like about a 3-mile walk. It was nice. I came home. I still had energy. Like, what is happening right now? And so that kind of just leads into just my activity level in general, right? So physical activity is up. I walk now, I sprint, I lift weights, I do push-ups. And I'm not sad about it. I'm not like, oh, I guess I'm gonna go work out. Like it's like, woohoo, I'm gonna go work out. And so that's just a total like just night and day difference. It's not that I've never worked out in my life, but I like hated it before. I dreaded it before. I did it because I could burn some calories before, right? Now it's like I want to get healthy. It's a totally different mindset. I want to build muscle and be healthier. And the last one I'll say, because like I said, I want to leave room for everyone else to have their moment here. But living this way and eating this way has really led to my son now eating this way. And my son has ADHD that is fairly severe. And we've tried everything from counseling to medication to everything in between. And I have seen zero improvement on any of those things. And about 2 months ago, actually, it was the beginning of February, he agreed to try this for 30 days and just to see what would happen. And after 30 days, we just saw so much improvement in all of his ADHD symptoms. I have videos on my channel, so I'm not going to go into detail. If you're interested in that, go find those. He even did a live stream with me where he, like from his own perspective, and then after the 30 days, he was like, yep, I'm going to keep going. So now we're well past 60 days. I don't know. What are we? 71 days, I guess. And yeah, it's like he's had a few times where he could have had the McDonald's, he could have had the pizza, and he didn't. He came home and had picanha, right? Or he came home and had whatever carnivore food he had. So, I mean, it's just been amazing. I've seen such a transformation in his mental health, and that would not have happened if I didn't like learn about this way of eating, see the benefits for myself, learn what potential, because I don't have ADHD, but like I've learned about this diet and the benefits it can have for people. And hey, give it a try. And so it's just made our whole family life, that much better. So there you have it. Those are some of my top benefits. There are more, but those are some of my top benefits that I've experienced.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Darling
Yeah, and I
Kathy.
think my favorite thing about your story is the mental health part, where it's like you don't even realize sometimes that these things exist until they go away, and you finally get that contrast, and you're like, oh, this is different, So yeah, I love when you share that. All right, we'll scoot over to Cami next. Last day of normal.
Hi, my name is Cami. I'm at Last Day of Normal. Sorry if my internet connection is not completely solid. I apologize. I feel like I thought I was just a typical middle-aged woman, and that all the aches and pains were because I was getting older. So I'm not going to give you a list of everything because I think I was just really kind of average. I didn't have IBS or anything like that, just aches and pains, and thought I was getting arthritis and my fingers were swollen all the time. And I just thought it was because I was getting to be 50, and, I didn't think too much about that. But last year in March is when I started, because I was at my top height, or not height. I'm always at my top height. I was at my top weight, and I just was miserable, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And I found Carnivore, and I'm like, I'm doing this right now. And I just started right away. And it was March, and we were leaving for a 5-week RV trip, me and my 10-year-old daughter, just the two of us for 5 weeks alone. And I knew that I was going to have to be physically able to load everything up and just do all the physical stuff. And I wasn't. I was too tired. I wouldn't have been able to do it. But just within those 3 months, March, April, and May, I lost weight. I gained abilities. Like I could then jump over the back hitch of the truck, and just felt more capable and more confident and able to do that kind of stuff. It was amazing. But I think And okay, so I kind of sometimes apologize and feel like I have a bad story because I'm not completely 100% better. Sometimes my shoulders still hurt. Sometimes I don't sleep well through the night, and then I have to forgive myself for beating myself up about that. We're all on an individual journey, and I don't even know what I'm having to heal from. I don't know all the things because I can't afford all the tests. So I don't know. I know I have Hashimoto's. I know I'm still struggling with autoimmune issues. So there's still something going on, but I am 100 times better than I was a year ago. But I do love the weight loss. And maybe that's just the vanity. Maybe that's just that I've been overweight my whole life. I love the weight loss. I've lost 50 pounds. And like 2 weeks ago, I started lying and I'm starting to lose weight again. I was on like a 6-month stall and I'm starting to lose weight again. And that feels really good. And I know maybe it's just a shallow and not super great metric, but it's something I can do at home. I don't need an expensive test for. I can measure that and I love it. It feels good to lose weight. I have to say that. I like how it feels. So I just feel like I'm just like everybody else. A little bit feeling old, but feeling better. Not a miracle cure kind of situation. And let's see, the last thing, even more than the physical benefits for me have been hope. I have hope and faith that there are good doctors in the world still. I'm learning that. I'm seeing them try and help people. And I have hope that I can be healed because now I have the truth. Now I know what to do. And I don't feel confused and I don't feel like I'm constantly seeking for the right plan anymore, which is it's just a miserable way to be, is just constantly trying to figure out what the truth is. I tried vegan, I tried vegetarian, I tried all the things. I tried intermittent fasting, which I loved, and that helped me a ton. And that really got my blood sugars under control. And so that was a blessing. But it got really hard to be hungry all the time. And carnivore is nourishing and I am not starving. If I'm hungry, I go eat more and I never feel bad about it. And it feels food freedom. It's freeing to be able to eat something and not feel bad about it. And so I just feel so much better. Not perfect, but so happy, so hopeful. And like I did a ton of canning on Tuesday. I took a break day yesterday and I did a ton of canning today. And I sometimes still feel like I'm not doing enough. And my husband is like, are you crazy, woman? Think of yourself 10 years ago. You would not have been able to do this much in 20 days, yet alone in 2 or 3 days. So you just have to look back and try and keep the whole scope of your life in mind as you compare. So I just love it. I feel good. I have hope.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, my story is similar to yours. I mean, not, I come from digestive problems and chronic IBS and things like that, anxiety, psoriasis, all that kind of, but similar, in the autoimmune department where it just seems like it takes a little bit more time and I'll get, stalled for a little while where I feel really good. And then I'll have this big flare up and I'm like, what's going on? So it can be super frustrating sometimes, but I too have to remind myself, like, how would I have felt 5 years ago before I ever found this, or even like you were saying, 10 years back. Like I would not, like, I'm off coffee now. You know what I mean? Like that is a freaking miracle to me. I never thought in my life I would be able to function on a regular basis without coffee. That's how tired I was, chronically fatigued all the time. And so just that, when I just think about one kind of non-scale type victory like that, where it seems like you just forget about it, or it goes to the back of your mind when you're thinking, oh, I'm not making progress in whatever, kind of my main thing is. But then I remember something like that and it's like, holy crap, I've never been able to do that on any other diet and feel energized and feel like a normal human and not a zombie. So that's so awesome that you can see all of the benefits too, because that's great, especially on a weight loss journey when you feel like, oh, it's stalling, or it's not going as fast as you might want, then all these other things add up too. So awesome. Okay, JT, I think this is your first time joining us on Mastermind, so welcome.
Welcome,
Your
welcome. Thanks
turn.
for the invite again, and I'm happy to share some time with you guys. And I do feel like it's like a little happy hour. This is fun. Anybody who's not familiar with me and my cow hat, my name is JT from the Poco Moonshine family, and I'm a carnivore, and I'm absolutely loving it. My favorite thing about the carnivore diet is that it healed my body. Weight loss, it's fun, it's great, but to me, the best part about carnivore diet is the healing benefits it has for all sorts of stuff. And for me, the most important thing that it helped me heal was my sleep apnea. I had 3 different near death experiences. The third one was the worst. I thought I was literally like a breath away from dying. I knew if I was about to pass out, because when you don't get enough air, you pass out. But my lungs weren't working. So if I would have passed out, I probably would have died because my lungs just weren't working. So I knew I had to stay awake and keep breathing. So I got past that. And then luckily I found carnivore diet. I healed my sleep apnea within the first 30 days. And it just feels so liberating to be able to go to bed and not worry about not waking up again, and not seeing my friends and family, and not finishing my story the way it should be finished. So that the healing aspects of it. And I also had terrible IBS for years. I just always felt like crap. My guts always felt just terrible. I just always felt sick, and I would go and get tested from the doctors over and over and over. And it was always the same thing. We don't know, nothing shows up. There's nothing wrong with you. But when you have IBS, like nothing really shows up. It's not going to show up on a test that something's wrong with you most of the time. But dang well, anybody who has IBS, something's wrong. Something's not right. So um, contrary to what the doctors kept telling me, I just knew. I was like, something's not right. And I I I went on carnivore diet to just see what the hell would happen. I saw Kerry jumping around. He couldn't sit still. And I said, man, I got to get me some of that action. So I did it I said, I'm going to do it for 30 days and we'll go from there. Well, I did it for 30 days and I never stopped. I'm on 200 something. I don't know, almost 300 days. And I wouldn't look back. And I didn't not expect it to heal my sleep apnea at all. I didn't expect it to heal my IBS. I didn't know what it was going to do, to be honest with you. Like there's no rule book to this thing, like it's just a miracle. It really is. It's a blessing. And it's crazy. Like my coach would always say, I had what I needed to get what I wanted. You have what you need to get what you want. And that would always just drive me up a wall. I'm like, how do I have what I need to get what I want, Bob? But then when I sat by, I was like, man, I had what I needed the whole time to get what I wanted, which was healing. The meat, the eggs, it's always been there. Meat, eggs, and water and salt. It's been there before I was even born. So we all do indeed have what we need to get what we want. And I think that's just such a blessing. So that's my story, and I'll pass it off to the next person. I don't want to talk too long here.
Thank you. I want to throw this comment that just came in at you here, since I think it sort of directly applies. So Our Sufficient Life says, I have a CPAP for sleep apnea. My mouth has been dry when using it lately, and I'm wondering if I should try to just stop using it. How did you know you were healed of the sleep apnea?
Yeah, I would not stop using your sleep apnea machine until like some machines have a counter and it tells you how many times you stop breathing in the night. Now, I only know that because I talked to Kerry and he's got one of those ones. So I would just stay on it till you don't need it. And I would specifically get one that would count how many times that you stop breathing in a night. But for me, I refused to use the machine. And I literally said I would rather die than use the machine. And that is literally what almost happened. So that's another thing. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get the damn thing. So don't do what I did. Don't be stupid. Don't go off the machine early. Get one that counts, and then listen to your lungs. Listen to how you anybody with sleep apnea knows how that you breathe at night, and you know, like the wheeziness and you just know like the lungs aren't right. And I can feel now in my chest, in my breathing, that I've healed, and I don't wake up in the middle of the night anymore gasping for air because my lungs are just sleeping themselves. So I know for multiple reasons, but none of them for the right reasons, that I had a machine and did it the right way. Do the machine, do it the right way. Don't be stupid like I was, but just listen to your body though. That's how I know too, because it was, you jump up out of the bed in the middle of the night and you just can't breathe, and it freaks the shit out of you. And it's scary. It's super scary. And that does not happen anymore. So that's how I know, but use that machine.
Yes, disclaimer. We are not your doctors. This is not medical advice.
I'm
Please
just a
consult
dude
your
with a cow hat.
physician before you change anything. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there because it came up right when you were going. So, okay, Larry, you're next.
All right, I'm Larry. I'm the Carnivore Soldier. I have been a carnivore for over a year now. March 22nd was my carniversary. And I've gone from 280 pounds to 235 and put on a bunch of muscle and doing sprints and working out in the gym since December. So it's been completely life-changing. I like to talk about carnivore diet as being a life-changing event, because once you become a full carnivore, it changes your life completely. Your trajectory of where you were going is changed. Similar to become a father, or you get out of military school and you become a soldier or an airman or sailor or whatever. Your body, I mean, your life changes trajectory at that point. And so this is, you know, I like to say, come for the weight loss and stay for the non-scale victories, because the weight loss is the sexy thing that lures people into this, right? You get lured in like, oh, wow, look at these people losing this weight. They look fabulous. I would love to do that. But weight loss isn't enough to keep you going. For one, I don't think it's not big enough why. Well, maybe for some people who are morbidly obese it is, but typically that's not by itself going to be the Duke. No, Duke wants to play. I'm sorry. If you can hear his toy, he's squeaking it. No, Duke. So so stick around for the non-scale victories. The non-scale victories outstrip the weight loss completely. The weight loss is great. You do feel better. As a man, I can say I feel more confident. I feel more masculine. I feel like I can do the things a man is supposed to do, which, you know, maybe that's sexist, but we have this feeling as men of what we should be able to do, what we are supposed to be able to do to take care of manly things, right? And being a soldier, that's part of it too. And I just felt like I couldn't do any of that stuff anymore. I was sitting on the couch, you know, depressed, watching TV with this click, 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 click. That's what my days were like. And now I think the thing that the biggest change for me is motivation levels. Everyone said it in here. You have so much energy, but not just energy. You have motivation. You set new directions. And this is what I'm talking about, a life-changing event. I mean, I'm looking at buying real estate now, which I wasn't doing. I'm looking at writing a book. I've got a YouTube channel. I'm changing other people's lives. I mean, these are things that never were on the radar before March 22nd of last year. So I can only say that carnivore is the only thing that I can account for that's changed that. So it's something about carnivore changes your brain chemistry. And if you want, I mean, we all know that we all kind of want to be a motivated person that's on track, that gets stuff done. You know, we want that, but none of us know how to get there, because it's not easy, especially on the standard diet. You're sitting there, you're depressed, you're just overwhelmed, you have no plan, and all of a sudden you get in this carnivore thing and your energy skyrockets. You're looking to make plans, you're looking to do things like, I'm going to Europe, I'm changing, you know, my whole life has changed because of this. So it's not just lose 30 pounds or lose 13 pounds for spring break or whatever. That's not it. It's much bigger, and your why will grow. My why has grown, right? My why started just losing weight. Then my why grew and grew and grew, and it became so big that I started a YouTube channel, right? It became so big, I started writing a book. So there's a lot. Your why will change, and you need to go with it and just kind of go with the flow. But your motivation levels are the big thing that I think, besides weight loss, that made me, you know, and it's all tied in together. It's like I said, it's the way you feel about yourself. You feel capable. You know, Cammie was saying she could jump over the trailer hitch. That may not be a big deal for you, but if you can't do it, then all of a sudden you do it. I mean, like when I when I knock out push-ups and leg lifts and stuff, I feel like I'm in better shape than I was when I was a soldier. I can crank this stuff out. It doesn't even slow me down. When I'm running sprints, I feel athletic. And there's something about that that changes your psyche, that makes you feel like a more complete human being, I think. I mean, because you're just designed to be able to do that, right? We never should have been in the boat we were in before we found carnivore. The other thing is, I think we get so much quick results up front with this carnivore diet. Most people do, that they get disappointed and disillusioned after like 2 weeks of stalling out. They call it stalling out. Well, you're stalling out at a completely healthy state. I mean, most people are like, oh my gosh, I'm not losing weight like I was, but yes, but you had to change your belt and buy new pants because your waistline's still going in because you're putting on muscle and bone density. I mean, your body's going to take a long time, and people don't realize this, but like, I'm 1 year into carnivore. The seed oils I intake, it had in my diet up to this point, have a 680-day half-life. So that means I've got like 5 more years of doing this before I get that out of my body. 5 more years of that damaging my mitochondria, my cells. I'm not healthy yet. This is not the final result. I think maybe when I'm 60, I'm 58. So when I'm 62, 63, I'll probably be fully clean and back to a clean slate health-wise. And by then I'll have implemented a lot of these plans, and I'll have more plans. I'm going to keep going. There's no reason not to. You run out, like Chrissy said, she runs out of, she comes home, has energy. I have energy all the time. So it's really a great feeling. And I tell you, it's really helpful when you're a dad to have energy all the time, because I'm up and going with my son all the time. He's 14, and let me tell you, he's got some energy. And when I go with him, I can keep up, and it's great. So yeah, those are my my big wins. It's really the mental health and the motivation levels. That's just the changing of your life. It's really the changing of your life. I don't know how to say it other than that. It's a life-changing event. It's your identity changes. When your life-changing event happens like that, your identity actually changes. You become a soldier, a father, whatever. That's a life-changing event, that changes your trajectory. So I think that's the big thing. It's a life-changing event.
Sure.
You're muted. Or
there
you go.
Thanks. Yeah, I was background talking for a second.
Okay.
That's awesome. And I love your message about motivation and the life-changing event thing, because I see that more and more as I get further down as well. It's like your outlook on what is possible changes because you feel like a different person. And kind of like Cami was saying too, when you contrast what you used to be able to do in a certain situation with what you can do now, it's almost easy to let that slip by sometimes if it's a gradual thing. At least I've noticed that. And then when I go reflect on that, it's like, wow, like this, I really am different, and this is life-changing. So that's awesome. Okay, Ellie, your turn.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I was a little bit late, but so happy to be here tonight. As a little girl, I always tried my best to put a smile on my face. I was always trying to make other people feel better. And becoming a little girl, I became, older, and I allowed people to walk all over me. And I was a doormat. And I allowed people's viewpoint of that positivity, at least I think it was fake positivity, as like a bubbliness, and it really, and not being intelligent. And so that really damaged my self-esteem. And although I physically looked healthy, my mental health was awful. I remember I used to always describe it as being at the bottom of a pit, and there's mud and dirt all around me, and I look up and I see the beautiful blue skies, and I hear the birds chirping, and I hear children laughing, and I'm like, that's the world I want to be in. And yet I'm here down at the bottom, and I would try to climb, and then I would slowly slide down. And so that was kind of how I felt about myself. And so I faked a lot of my positivity, and it wasn't. And then as the years went on, I started, I found comfort in food. Food was everything to me. It was something that was like I did for myself, and I would eat and eat. And I had some binge eating tendencies. I would just like eat until I was uncomfortably stuffed, you know, but not like how we know it today. And I would just keep hiding away. I had some symptoms of depersonalization disorder that would come up. I would be super excited and happy and like feel normal, and then all of a sudden I would disassociate. And eventually that became worse and worse. Panic attacks were like nightmares in real life. You know, I would feel fine, and then all of a sudden, like it was like a light switch, and I would be in a fetal position, screaming and crying, and it was extremely debilitating. And I became 240 pounds, and I had very irregular periods. I was incredibly constipated, um, and it was just I was a mess. I didn't have any motivation. I didn't have any real purpose in life. I just felt like a leech. I felt like I was just constantly consuming. And I originally found the ketogenic diet, and that made a huge change into my life. In the first 6 months of doing keto, I lost 53 pounds. My rosacea, which was at that point really, really bad, it had gotten so much better. I wasn't itching all the time anymore. And because of my obesity, I wasn't having boils. I used to have boils, and my husband would have to drain those for me. And it was really difficult to walk because of knee pain and all this stuff. So it was keto first, and I was becoming a healthier version of me, and happy, and like actually like doing things with my life, I felt like. And then I got pregnant, which we had been trying, and my doctor told me that I needed to stop doing keto. And so I listened because I didn't want to harm my baby. And that's like a little bit of a wound that I have, knowing what I do know now. And so, you know, some time went on, and I always kept trying to do keto again. Kept trying to do it. But the sugar addiction and the carb addiction, it just kept rearing its ugly head. I remember I would post pictures on my social media, just like, you know, private stuff at the time, and be like, oh, here's the first week of keto. This is what I look like. And kind of like what I'm doing now, sharing my body progress and all that stuff. And then I would delete it immediately because I was just so ashamed of like, oh, I can't do it, you know? And then eventually I found the carnivore diet. And I feel like everything has become so much more better. It's not just about the weight loss anymore, although I am down like 70 plus pounds in total. And I've lost like well over 60 inches of my body with keto and carnivore. I feel like I have kind of what Larry was saying, I have a purpose in life. And I feel like it is possible for me to not only do things for myself, but also do things for others. And I feel like that little innocent, you know, version of me when I was younger, who wanted to help people and who was bubbly and who was happy, is finally actually like, you know, alive and well. And so I love to just share the message about carnivore and how you can overcome the darkness if you just change your diet. And yeah, so that's my story and some of my benefits I've received from eating this way.
That's awesome. Thank you. You always have such a uniquely metaphorical way of talking about your experience, and I always appreciate that. And you know, the way you describe it, because that can really help. That sometimes helps me remember, you know, how things felt in the past too, because I think, and you've said too a few times that, you know, we've got to remember our pain sometimes, remember where we've come from in order to, again, kind of see that contrast and remember like how far we've come. And you've come such a far way as well. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
All right. We've
Yeah,
made it on oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'll be right back.
Okay. Bye-bye. We made it around the circle, which is awesome. And I've kind of thrown in little bits and pieces here and there, but I'll just go quickly here. And then we've got a question here that we can throw out to the panel. And if anyone else has a question, or if you'd like to share your personal story and have us highlight it here, you can drop that in the comments here for the rest of the chat tonight. So my healing journey is a long one. It's been probably, you know, over 15 years well, if you start from the beginning to where I am now, it's closer to 20. But before I first found the carnivore diet, and like many of you had said, I tried a lot of different diets. I tried plant-based, vegan, vegetarian, the blood type diet, a couple other things, and then I found ancestral nutrition and paleo, and that's when I really started to notice changes when I cut out all the grains, because I was trying these like this Kachari cleanse was one thing I did repeatedly, where it's like beans and rice. I think it's chickpeas or some kind of bean, and you cook that in rice, and it's supposed to like cure your digestion, right? Stop constipation and IBS symptoms and things like that. Well, it made me like 40 times worse. And I thought, well, maybe I just didn't do it right. So I would, wait a month and then try it again, doing all these crazy things, home enemas, colonic treatments, all, just all kinds of nasty stuff that nobody wants to hear about or do, and it's very embarrassing, and it's hard to get help sometimes when you feel ashamed of how your body works or is not working. And when you do go for help, like I did a few times, to different physicians, I just realized my computer's unplugged. They would just kind of tell me to do more of the same. Like, we'll keep taking the fiber pills, keep drinking water and move more, and it's like, that's what the internet says every time you Google what to do. But, it's like, I've been doing these things for years, you guys, and nothing has changed. It's just getting worse. And so, um, over the years, I've had bouts on and off with psoriasis, gutate psoriasis, and just being very, very highly sensitive to everything. Like, my skin is extremely sensitive to different products. I'm realizing now how sensitive I am to stress. And so like I'm deep diving into a bunch of rabbit holes, like SIRS, chronic inflammatory response syndrome, mold toxicity, some of these other things that could potentially be root causes for me. But ultimately, I went through a process of elimination to get to carnivore, where I just was like, okay, I feel the best cutting out all of this stuff. And then I realized it was a thing. And that's kind of when Sean Baker went on Joe Rogan in like 2018. And I realized, okay, there's like some credible people doing this. Michaela Peterson popped up, and I was like, oh, with the inflammation, that made so much sense to me. And so then I went off the diet. Now I'm back on the diet, and now I'm on lion diet, because I'm like, I think just, even having a lot of variety in carnivore foods was still not pinpointing, exactly what I need. So I'm still on my journey, and I still have some things to fully heal from. But the biggest realization I've had, and to kind of echo what a lot of you have also said tonight, is that this takes time. And I think we live in such an instant gratification culture. We're used to kind of like the diet pills, the supplements, the things. It's like, oh, if I just get this berry pill, it's going to change everything in 2 weeks, right? And we want everything to happen so quickly. And, I'm no different. I want to heal tomorrow too. But I think just accepting that it's taken, in my case, decades of just ignorance, like some of it was ignorance, not knowing the right path to take. And so I was hurting myself by trying all these other diets and doing these weird cleanses and all this stuff that was really not helping. And then also, I abused my body, drinking way too much alcohol for years and years and years and years and years to kill the pain emotionally and physically of, a lot of this, and anxiety and social anxiety and all those other things. And so why would I expect to be completely transformed in 6 months? So I've really learned this healing journey has really taught me to be patient, to surrender, to just accept the process, to trust my body, to trust in like the higher power that I believe in, that all of this is working for me, not against me. So it's not my body attacking me like I used to think. With autoimmune stuff, it's like, oh, my body's turned against me. It's attacking me. It hates me. It's like, no, these are all, even though they show up as inflammation, they show up as discomfort, they show up as IBS and psoriasis flares and things like that. My body is actually trying to protect me from something. It's trying to preserve, life that I do have, the health that I do have. And it's a signal, right? It's trying to communicate that something's still wrong. And so I need to look further. And so that's really what I've been able to connect with throughout this second journey on Carnivore, is to just really lean into the process, lean into, like, I enjoy tracking and I enjoy studying a lot. I love learning about the body and how it works and all these different protocols and how people are healing. But then I have to take breaks from that and I have to say, okay, work on my emotional health, work on my nervous system regulation, work on all these other things that contribute to, a lot of times, specifically autoimmune cases, and just my overall health, and support my body as best I can while it goes through this process of healing. So yeah, I guess trust and surrender and faith and relentlessness at the same time are kind of the things that I guess I would say are the ultimate benefits. I mean, I don't have severe IBS like I used to, plain and simple. Like, my digestion still comes and goes sometimes, but it's not anything like, I don't I'm not even going to tell you guys what it used to be like, so like, I can function and live my life. And I mentioned how I'm not on coffee anymore, and like, that is unimaginable to me. So clearly good things are happening, and just holding out for, and letting the time, letting that time and that process go. So yeah, I said I was going to be quick, but then I rambled on. So but it's so powerful, and I appreciate all of you sharing tonight, because it's so cool to hear from everyone's different backgrounds and everything that we've overcome. So I'd like to throw this question up here from Ancient Carnivore Nutrition. They say, I get discouraged and anxiety when I think that I have to eat meat and no tasty food the rest of my life to get and stay healthy. Any tips on how to overcome this anxiety? I'll just throw that out to anyone.
I mean, I would ask how long she's been carnivore. I'm not sure what sex they are, but that person, how long they've been carnivore, because the tasty food is the symptom of having food as entertainment. And once you get past that, which you will after about 100 days, in my experience of carnivore, you no longer see it as entertainment. Think of it this way, like, it'd be like getting the whole family all together to go out to drive to the gas station to put gas in the car, and everyone get excited, we're putting gas in the car. Yeah, let's go put gas in the car. Come on, Colton, let's go. And we're gonna, and I guess there's a novelty, but it wears off pretty fast, because that's just putting fuel in the car. There's nothing special about putting gas in a car. It's just fuel. And once you get your body tuned to that, and your relationship with food actually changes, and it's putting gas in the car. And sometimes it's annoying. It's like, God, I got to eat before, so I can go do something. I'm going to get this knocked out of the way and eat something really easy, that it's easy to clean up and simple. That's another thing this thing did, is simplify your life too. So yeah, that's what I would say. So just hang in there. It gets better. And how long have you been carnivore? Just curious.
Larry, it's funny that you should say that, because that's exactly what I did before this live stream. I had a last minute email from a parent, so I didn't leave work when I wanted to. And I was like, what can I eat that's like quick? Because I want to get on this live stream and hang with my friends. So I made like burger patties super quick and just like snarfed them down, but it was just so I could like get that done so I could come on and do this. So it's funny that you said that. So Ancient Carnivore Nutrition, I would kind of agree with what Larry was saying. I know for myself, I would be good with like steak and burger patties and eggs, and like, I'd just be perfectly happy. But I've been at this for a little over a year, if you include my, my time on keto, which was like a meat-based version. But like my son, who's 15, for one thing. And for another thing, he's only about 2 months in. So he does eat the same food that I eat. Like, he'll eat the chuck roast, he'll eat the picanha and things like that. But probably about half the time he'll eat. Thank you, JT. Shout out, JT.
Tanya, I heard it.
But JT, yeah. JT came up with a great carnivore pizza pocket recipe that I taught my son. So he'll make those. It's just like cheese on the bottom with some like pepperoni. He puts sausage in his and cheese on top, and you just bake it. It's super easy, and that like took the place of his hot pockets. So he still does some things like, he used to eat like the crappy Frankenfood chicken nuggets. Well, I make chicken nuggets for him, either with ground chicken, or I'll make chicken tenders breaded with pork panko. So he's still, right now, he'll do some like substitution foods, or you call them tasty foods, right? For him, we just have a version so he doesn't feel like he's missing out on those things. Because for me, as his mom, I'm like, what's important is that we switch it. We up your fat, we up your protein, and we get rid of the processed junk. And then we can work on, okay, now let's stick to like, the basics, right? We're not there yet with him. He's good where he is. He's not missing the couple things. Like, he told me at one point, I really miss my yogurt. Well, he ate the really horrible, like, sugar filled yogurt. So what I did was I bought some Greek plain yogurt, whole, full fat Greek plain yogurt. Then I showed him the two labels. Look at this one. Look at this one, and he just adds a little vanilla to that plain yogurt, and he eats that, and like, he's fine with it. He doesn't eat it every day, but it's there for him. And now he doesn't miss his yogurt, and he's getting like way less carbs, right? It's like less than half. I think it's like 7 carbs for a serving of that Greek yogurt, and it's full fat, milk, grass fed, all that stuff. It's so much better for him. So I'm perfectly happy doing that. And if you're still transitioning, I don't know, maybe those are some things that can help you. I know that's helped my son. When we first agreed to it, he agreed, he said for 30 days. Well, like I said, now we're at 72 days. And I think those are things that help him. He doesn't feel weird around his friends. He still gets to have things he likes that, that reminds him of the food he used to eat. So he's not feeling so deprived, and he's reaping the benefits. So
I just wanted to say too, the tasty foods, they don't love you as much as we love them.
Right. That's
it's a
right,
one-sided
JT.
relationship. They don't love us back, and they're looking to destroy our bodies, to destroy our life, our future. So just remind yourself that you love your life, you love your health, you love being here, you love living life more than you love those tasty foods. You got to find things, you got to focus on the things you love more than that stuff.
Yeah, I really agree about that. I used to, like I mentioned earlier, I used to have panic attacks and I had anxiety. And what it seems like is that you're thinking about this is like, I'm never going to be able to do something again. Well, maybe we should change the mindset and think about all the things you're going to be able to do now that you're pursuing a more meat-based or carnivore diet. And I think that a lot of the time our anxiety, it kind of stops us from we feel like we're not in control. And I think carnivore allows us to be in control because we're not being bombarded or overstimulated or like with all these like different choices. It's like, the protocol, you have the answer now, and you don't have to avoid like situations where like, like I used to eat like a big bowl of cereal in the morning, and then I'd feel bad that I had 2 or 3 servings. Then how many calories is that? Oh, okay. And then I would just like think about that constantly. That you can eat until you're full and you're replenishing, you're actually giving nutrition to your body, and you're going to be full. And I think when you're full, you're going to be able to be more calm. And that's, at least for me, I think a lot of everyone here can attest to that. It's like we feel a lot more calm now. We feel like we can actually think straight also because we don't have the brain fog. So I would think about how you can reframe it, and also think about why you're having anxiety with like those old crutches. Like, think about why you have those crutches. Where those crutches came from, and then you think that mental homework will help with that.
I agree. And I can tell you, I went through this too, and I actually talked about it in a video on my channel. Just about, because when you think that long term, and on the one hand, you kind of want to think long term about benefits, right? And kind of like how I was talking about with the healing journey of overcoming things. But if I start thinking too long term about, I will never eat a blueberry ever in my life, I'm going to die without ever tasting a cucumber again. Like, that is depressing. It can be depressing to me sometimes. Or it can, make me feel like, oh, this is super restrictive, or, because my fiance is a chef and he likes to go eat food, and, he eats pretty close to carnivore most days. But like, today he had a sandwich or whatever. And it's like, that used to trigger me because I used to think, oh, I'll never, ever be able to eat lettuce or a tomato again, you know? But like Ellie was saying, like, I've just had to flip that mindset and be like, okay, I'm still healing right now. And when I get to the place that I really want to be, then I can consider, you know, adding in a few like normal, healthy, relatively healthy foods, right? Not going back to the junk, not going back to, you know, Oreos and cupcakes and Cheerios and stuff like that. But, you know, if I want to have some pickles or a salad, you know, or something like that down the road, that's a possibility, you know. So just leaving yourself open to the possibility that, yes, you may want to introduce things again down the road if, you know, you are feeling like you have reached the place that you wanted to on your healing journey or whatever your, you know, goals are related to. And so that's how I think about it now. Same thing with alcohol. And I think this really applies to any sort of addictive substance, right? I mean, I just, you know, I didn't intend to quit drinking forever when I started this. My goal was to go till New Year's, from end of July when I started Carnivore this last year till New Year's. And I thought, okay, then I'll have champagne on New Year's and then see how long I want to go after that, you know? And I got to New Year's and I realized I didn't even want anything. You know, I didn't have any, I wasn't going anywhere and I wasn't celebrating with anyone. Ben was at work and, you know, I was just home alone. So maybe that was part of it. But it's like, you know, the desire wasn't there anymore. And that surprised me. And I have had like a glass of wine since then. I told you guys about that on Valentine's Day. But it's so different now, right? Because I could do that without it triggering me into a binge or triggering me into like calming myself with booze like I used to do all the time. You know what I mean? So it showed me the progress that I had made. And now I can just go, you know, not drink for months and months and months, and it doesn't really bother me. And again, like that's something that I never thought. I thought it would always be a struggle. I would always be fighting the cravings, you know what I mean? And so that does create anxiety. And so I can tell you from personal experience that it does get easier. And the longer you go without indulging in something, the desire really will go away. So
I think it's normal to have a little pity party and feel like, you know what, it's unfair that I can't just go get an ice cream. It is unfair, and that's true. But you know what? Get over it, drive on, and you can make your own ice cream, Dr. Kiltz. I mean, he's got some pretty good ice cream. So there's opportunities out there. And for Thanksgiving, my sister made a cheesecake, a keto cheesecake with the only thing that was keto was it had sweetener in it, and it was the crust was like an almond flour crust or something, which, you know, I ate a piece and, you know, it was dang good. And that was my Thanksgiving. I look forward to it again next year, you know, but I mean, I don't eat it every day and it's just your relationship changes. Everyone's got great points here.
Yeah. So, Kelly Hogan, my Zero Carb Life, she is just fantastic with mindset. And she talks about we tend to have a fear of missing out. She talks about the joy of missing out. If we just change how we look at it, I am so joyful that I'm not gaining weight, right? I'm so joyful that my problems aren't getting worse. I'm so joyful that every single day I can make a better choice for how I use my time and what I put in my mouth. Like every single day I have joy in making choices for myself. And so now I was freeze drying some pineapples that we got on sale, and I put one in my mouth. And at this point in my life, being, you know, sugar free for a year, that is like over the moon sweet for me. I ended up eating 4 little chunks of pineapple, and just so delicious. And if that's my treat, if I choose that in a day, that's fantastic. That's great. That is enough sweet, and I'm happy and joyful about it. And I don't feel guilty or anything. Every once in a while, I'm going to eat something like that. But I say no to the cookies. I have no problem with that. The bread, all that stuff. But a little fruit, that brings joy to my life. And it's a wonderful little treat. And your body will tell you. I have had other little treats, and my body told me, no, thank you. I don't want that again. A piece of fruit every once in a while, my body doesn't have a problem with that. So I may get to being able to do that in the future, but I can choose not to. I don't have any problem choosing not to as well.
I love it. So we have just touched the hour here. So if anyone needs to jump out, now's your chance. But we do have another question that I want to get as many thoughts on as we can, if anyone can stay. Pass. Does anyone need to go?
You can't get
No?
rid of me.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll answer the question. I'll check out. I gotta jump
Okay.
off. I can go first if you don't mind. And
All right. Well, here we have a super chat here from Dennis. It says,
Aw.
excellent, Cammie. This was from a while back, 20 after 6 or so.
So nice.
Anyway, thank you for that. And then the question here from Poppy says, I'm struggling with full night's sleep. I'm watching this live because now I'm wide awake. It's 1:44 a.m. It happens daily, mostly 2 or 3 a.m. I get wide awake. Please help. Ooh, I can talk about this one, but I'll let you go.
yeah,
first.
yeah. It's. I mean, everyone's different. It's N=1, but typically you don't have enough fat in your diet. That's typically. You might be eating too much protein, not enough fat. So you might want to try that. I mean, that's if you're waking up throughout the night. That's what that is. For me, it was anyway. So, or if you're just starting out, maybe you're peeing a lot. I mean, I remember when I first started the first couple of weeks, I was up peeing 2 or 3 times a night. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't do this forever. And thankfully it stopped when the most weight fell off. So if you're losing a lot of weight and you're getting up and peeing a bunch of times at night, that's one thing. And that's just, you have to kind of suck it up and drive through. Other than that, if you've been on for a while and now you're having issues where you just wake up wide awake or can't fall asleep, it could be lack of fat or other things. I'll let other people comment, but there's other things too you can look at.
Okay. Anyone else have super limited time? You want to go next? Or have comments? Or I'll jump in here with my sleep story. So this happened to me. I'm a little bit over 8 months in. So if you're still in here listening, maybe let us know how long you've been on, because I think that makes a difference. Thanks, Larry. Because I didn't struggle with sleep at all. I was actually pretty tired still a lot. And I would go to bed and lay in bed for 10 hours and feel like I wasn't still completely rested a lot of the time. And so I thought that was probably because I wasn't getting enough fat and maybe I was consuming too much protein. So when I changed my macros and dropped my protein a little bit and upped my fat, then I stopped sleeping. Or I would go to bed at, 8:30 at night. I'd wake up the same time as you, like 1:30, between 1 and 3 every single night. It seemed like no matter what I did. And this was probably 6 weeks before I figured out, and adjusted everything. And so for me, it was definitely more fat helped. But I did try some other things that do sometimes work for people. So there could be an electrolyte issue. I know some people use like a topical magnesium spray. That's something I also tried. That you can spray on your feet or on your legs and kind of just rub that in. And that helps people get back to sleep. So if that works for you, then maybe that's an indicator that your electrolytes are off and you maybe need to consume more, either like later in the day or in general throughout the day. But I would, if it's obviously it's concerning you, right? So I would just start doing some tracking. That's what I did. I started tracking pretty close, not obsessively, but like how much protein am I getting in general? How many calories am I eating in a day? Am I just purely under eating? And that's stressing my body out and causing me to wake up? Am I just not getting enough fat? Am I, what is it? And so I just kind of got a little nitty gritty with all of the things that I knew that I was intaking and tried things like, wearing an eye mask at night to block out any light. I've been doing self-hypnosis since I started carnivore this time as well. So if there's any kind of like meditation stuff that helps you get back to sleep, that can help at least while you're figuring things out. But for me, the biggest change was really getting like and now I can't say this because I haven't gotten 150 grams every single day and I'm still sleeping, but the proportion of fat is much closer to 80% and 20% protein. Sometimes I can get away with like 75, 25 or whatever, but high fat, get that fat in. Anyone else have a comment?
I have also heard that having like a little bit of butter at bedtime can help you. You know, like a tablespoon of butter and just eat that. Plus, it's delicious.
Could be
Well,
exercise too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lady, she used to go by the Carnivore Yogi, and she changed her name, and now I can't remember what she goes by. But
Sarah Kleiner.
Sarah Kleiner, and she talks
Sarah
a ton
Kleiner.
about how your food input is really only about 1/3 of that. And one of the things that would help with sleep is getting your circadian rhythms correct. And a lot of that is getting out in the morning and getting some sunrise light in your eyes and on your skin, and then turning off our phones at night and not sitting there for hours and hours, and just making your brain think it's time to still be wide awake. And just getting that little portion can make a huge difference. When I was in the RV, I made it a really big choice not to do phones at night and to go outside in the morning. And I would read my scriptures while my daughter slept in. So I was out in the sun every morning, and I slept like a baby, even on that awful mattress in the RV. But just that one little change, is getting that rhythm, was marvelous.
I love that. Yeah, and I watched several of her videos. She's the one that actually turned me on to taking some hydrochloric acid with, like, while I was upping my fat, because my digestion was struggling a little bit with like the sharp increase in fat, and so that also really helped. And I did hear her talk about, like, yeah, her sleep improved with higher fat. And like Christy said, eating some, like, a tablespoon of fat or something like that before bed is a good way to just kind of, let your body know it's safe. You're going to get nutrition. It's okay to go to sleep. And I mean, I feel you. It sucks when you don't sleep. So let us know how you do. We just got one more question in. Is everybody cool with that? Maybe like we'll go to like 7:15.
Let's go.
Okay. I haven't read this yet. Jenny Murphy, Tartarian Prepper. What is y'all's opinion about foraging for huckleberries seasonally? This is something that my fiance and I enjoy doing every summer while hiking the mountains. What do y'all think?
I say, if you're hiking and you're in the mountains, you get a free pass. You can eat whatever you want, whatever you find. That's local. That is totally appropriate. You go, girl.
It sounds like a lovely adventure.
Yeah. And I would say, like, exactly what you said, right? So they're seasonal. It's just when you're hiking in the mountains. So it's local to where you are at that time. And if it doesn't bother you, like if you don't have digestive issues and it's a pleasurable experience, you're happy to do it, you feel good, do it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think obviously that's ancestrally appropriate, right? We would have eaten the crap out of huckleberries for a couple weeks, while they were in their ripe condition or whatever, as we were running around. And so, again, if it doesn't trigger you into a binge or cause other cravings, or again, like, if depends on where you are in your healing journey. Like me, I would avoid it completely because I don't want to mess up my progress right now. Like, I'm 21 days into the lion diet, and I would ignore that. But maybe 5 years from now I might pick the berries and eat them, so it kind of just depends on where you're at personally. So anyone else have
I've
a
never
comment?
had a huckleberry, so huckleberry it up. I've never had one. I don't. What is a huckleberry? What do they taste like?
Honestly, I've heard of them, but I don't think I've ever had one.
I heard a huckleberry fin, but
yeah.
maybe that's where he was picking those all day. I don't know. Or maybe pick them and give them to somebody else, carrying them around. And maybe if you carry them around on the whole hike, you won't want to pick them anymore. So I don't know, just a suggestion, but they sound interesting.
I think there's worse things you could be doing with your time. You're out in nature, you're with a loved one, you're carrying on a tradition. Maybe one day when if you choose to have children, this could also be something that is, passed down. And I think that, like everyone's saying, as long as it's a healthy practice of doing it, like you're not looking for huckleberries like every week at the grocery store and or other forms of
Or
sugar.
huckleberry jam, or
yeah, like, oh, I
Yeah.
just want to like create that experience again. Like, as long as it's just like pure and wholesome and you're doing it for the outdoorsiness and enjoying it. Oh, they're like blueberries on crack and they're purple. Cool.
Huckleberry
Yeah,
mania.
You can practice your sprinting.
Yeah.
I love dark humor. It's great.
you don't have to outrun the bear, just your fiance. Oh, sorry. You said dark humor, Ellie. You said dark humor.
I loved it. Don't judge me. I loved it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. Well, I think that's all the questions we have. Does anyone have any final comments before we wrap it up for tonight?
Thanks for teaching me about huckleberries. Learn
right.
something every day.
Yeah, we all learned something new.
Yeah, I look forward to this stream every week, and I know I was kind of in and out. Sorry about that. I had to let my husband and kids in. The top latch was in. I was like, ah. So I really appreciate you having us every single week. Yeah, you're awesome, and congratulations on your move. I don't know if you said that, but congrats on that.
Oh, yeah, I think backstage we talked about it a little bit. I don't think I said it out here, but yeah,
Oh, sorry.
I was like, no, it's okay, but I'm excited. I've almost got this new shelf set up, and I was like trying to get it done really quick before we went live tonight.
Nice.
But next week you'll get to see my new shelf. So I have a much larger space to be in here, so I'm not stuffed in a corner. So yeah, it's great. Yeah, I appreciate you all being here, and we will drop another poll for next week. So if you're subscribed on my channel, you'll see that come up, and make sure to vote and share your comments there. And who knows what the topic will be next week. So keep an eye out for that. And then I also go live on Sundays for a Carnivore Campfire, where we just talk about more of a sort of personal development related topic. And then we'll be back next Thursday for another mastermind. So thanks everybody for being here in the chat on my fantastic panel, and I hope you all have a great week. Keep eating that meat, and huckleberries maybe only on a special occasion. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.